Jesus. Oh, man. Now what the heck's going on? I think I broke a caster. Wires everywhere. What the hell happened here? Oh, duh. Well, let's get things rolling here. I'm a little discombobulated, so hang on a second. Broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Cleveland, it's station WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and an Oscar. And yeah, we're brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. Well, get with it. Get with it. Get with the program. Get with the program. Well, it is absolutely wonderful to see people here tonight. Because last night, I thought, after I did the OBS update, that I blew everything away. Matter of fact, talk about blowing things away, let's put a little more light on the subject. That looks better. As you can see, oh, no, you can't. Oh. Why does that keep... Come on, Jesus. Goddamn arm. A new microphone. Now, there may be still an echo problem because this thing is so fucking sensitive. I could drop a pin and you would hear it. I have been trying to mess with the gain control all day. I've been doing all kinds of sound checks. There might still be an echo. If there is, I'm working on it. This thing is ultra sensitive. Now, here's what happens when I mute. It turns red to tell me, oh, you gotta shut off, dickhead. Then, no. He sent me, I'll tell you what. These are what they call studio DJ headphones. I plugged these in yesterday, and first of all, they blew my eardrums out. These are phenomenal. I am going to play some music through them tomorrow. absolutely. I thought my AKGs were great. Oh my God. These are unbelievable. And these aren't even top of the line. He's going to send me, when they're done testing, the top of the line Rockvilles. They're phenomenal. I have never owned headphones. I can't describe the sound. It's just unbelievable. Is there still an echo? I've been trying to work on it. It's this thing. I have never in my life had a microphone as sensitive as this thing is. I have it like on 1.5. I don't know how much lower I could turn the gain down. I mean, yesterday when usually my gain is set 5, 6, so I set it for 6. Oh my God, Jesus Christ! The sound bars went right off the I have a graphic equalizer at the bottom of the screen, and everything went into the red. Yeah, still a little bit. I don't know how much farther I can turn. Well, if I turn it down there, I think I have it shut off. Let me very slowly come up. Very slowly. All right, that is about half. All right, let me try to see if I go 3/4. Right there. It is 3/4. If I turn it down any lower, it turns the microphone off. So, I don't know, maybe I'm too close to the goddamn thing. It is an unbelievable. It's made by Rockville. Rockville mic, Rockville headset, and I called him today and I said, man, I said, this goddamn microphone is so sensitive. He goes, yeah, we had the same problem in the studio. Although, see, they have they got equipment up the ass to compensate. I don't. Half is better. That's good right there. Because what I'll do is I'll put a little line with a grease pencil. Because, like I say, if I dropped a pin on the desk, this thing is so sensitive, you would hear it. I have to turn my headset volume up just a touch. There. That shouldn't affect you, just me. So, new microphone, new headset, and new license plate. The new license plate for the Passat. Because the other one has got stickers all the way. So this one shouldn't draw any attention now. Yeah. There's my fancy brand new Ohio tag. Right there. I don't know why it's not picking up all the colors. Yeah, it's not picking up all the colors. Yeah, but if I turn it off, I have no. It turns off the headset, so I have to have it somewhat on. Let me just play with it a little bit. I'm just giving it little micro dot here, just very gently, very gently, very gently. Now, right at that point, it turns my headphones back on. If I turn it down any lower, it like shuts the mic. I hear nothing. Maybe what I need to do is maybe move it away a little bit. I'm about 18 inches away from it. I might have to do that. I might have to keep it away. The echo's back. But unfortunately, that's as low as if I go down a fraction of a notch, it's like it shuts the mic off. I don't hear anything through the headset. That is the lowest setting that I can put it on so I can talk and hear. So when I don't know, what if I move it just a little closer? I'm going to have to call my buddy out in Burbank tomorrow and see what they did when they were testing these. Yeah, I know the echo is, it drives you crazy. But at least it's not as bad as yesterday. Oh, when I did the playback yesterday, holy shit. I was like, everybody will be driving me crazy going, there's an echo, there's an echo. We might unfortunately have to put up with a little bit of echo. And this is like a stage mic. Jesus Christ. Yeah, for now, we'll have to leave it right where it's at until I call Bruce tomorrow out in Burbank and ask him what else I can do. I know they make a filter. It looks like about the size of a Bic lighter. And you plug it in you got two wires. One wire plugs into the mic, and then the other wire plugs into the computer. And this filter might clean that up a little bit. I'll have to find it out if I can use it, because sometimes microphones aren't compatible with that filter unit. I'm impressed with it. I just wish that I could get it to a level where it didn't irritate the shit out of people. And then I said to him, does it change colors? He goes, did you hit the mute button? I said, yeah. He said, well, you got red and blue. I said, okay. So there's the red. And there's the blue. When it's on red, you can't hear a word I'm saying. And then when it's on blue, you can hear me. I know there's a lot of people going, put it back on red. Matter of fact, you know, it didn't hit me until sometime this afternoon. I had purchased from Rockville. I had that, well, it's kind of buried. I had that headset amplifier, the tube amplifier that I got from Rockville. You know, when I saw the mic yesterday and it said Rockville, it didn't quite ring a bell right away. And then I happened to be looking for something over on my side storage over here. And I saw the Rockville on the front of the little amplifier, and I was like, now I know where they come from. They are, I'll tell you what they are. They are a wonderful outfit to deal with. Because when I got the first amplifier, one of the tubes was broken. And I called them and I said, hey, during shipping, one of the tubes got broken. He said, let me look to see. He goes, oh my God, you just got that thing, according to our shipping records. I said, yeah, I got it yesterday. He said, we will overnight 2 brand new tubes. I was like, I can wait. He goes, oh, no, that's embarrassing. And the next day, like at 1:30, the FedEx guy was at the side door. I have this little package for you. Okay, thank you. And it was 2 brand new tubes. So I am quite impressed with the customer service at Rockville. Matter of fact, I might have to call them tomorrow and say, hey, I got this fancy schmancy Rockville microphone. I can't remember. There's a name for it. It's not anywhere on the microphone. And I'm getting an echo. What do I do? And he'll probably tell me you're too fucking close to it. Although you said when I pushed it away, the echo came back. I'm actually trying to talk in a normal voice, too. Keep the voice down, talk like a normal person. Sound like Paul Harvey. I watched a YouTube video yesterday. He was inducted into the, oh God, I can't remember what the hell it is, like the American Radio Association or something. And he gave kind of a thank you speech, and he was kind of getting choked up because it was not only the award ceremony, it was like the last time he was going to be on the radio. And I like when he ended the speech. He said the last line on the speech. He looked up and he said, "Good day." Matter of fact, he started the speech, "Hello, Americans." It was, I'll tell you what, I listened to a couple of, there are several shows that they put on YouTube. I listened to a couple yesterday and I was like, oh my God, do I miss hearing that every day? I think there's an email address on the YouTube website. I am going to email and see if they have any possibility of doing reruns. They do it on TV. I'm sure there's syndicated radio stations that would be more than happy to run that little segment every day. Not to mention, they would get royalties off of it. Yeah, it would just be cool to hear him on the radio again. Good old Paul Harvey. And you know, the interesting thing is, you hear somebody on the radio, and you try to mentally picture what they look like. And I'll tell you what, when John Lanigan came to town, I got this mental picture of what he would look like. And when I met him, I was shocked. He looked nothing like I imagined. You try to mentally put a face with a voice. And believe me, just about every disc jockey out there definitely has a face for radio. Especially the idiots they have today. You know, I used to listen to Magic 105.7. Matter of fact, my clock radio used to be set for like 2 minutes to 6, because that was when Lanigan came on. He did 6 to 10. Well, when he retired, the idiot that they replaced Lanigan with was a weatherman from Channel 3 or Channel 5. I have no idea why they made that decision to offer that morning drive slot to a weatherman. This guy had the personality of a dead fish. I literally stopped listening. I miss John Lanigan. Oh. He was Cleveland. That's what I'm gonna. He was literally Cleveland. I can't remember where he came from, but I'll tell you what, he took a super interest in this city, and there. God, I'll tell you what, if somebody, it's like if somebody threw a barbecue in their backyard and invited him, he'd be there. Anything that was going on in the city, he would make an appearance. I always said that Lanigan had his finger on the pulse of the city. And when it came to interviews, there was nobody better. Because if he would be interviewing an author, they get advanced copies of the books. Lanigan would read that book cover to cover. And then he would pick certain things out to bring up during the interview. Because it would throw the authors off, because he would be like, on page 75 in the second paragraph, you said blah, 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 you know. And the author would be, hold on, let me get a book. And many of the authors that he interviewed said they have never been interviewed by anyone like Lanigan. Because a lot of radio DJs, all they do is they read the front and the back leaflet, and they think they know what the book's about. Lanigan would actually read the whole book. And he was always very polite. If he asked a question, he made sure, no matter how long the reply, the author got to say everything he wanted to say. Because a lot of these guys, they cut the... Okay, we heard enough, you know. They cut him off. They talk to him, you know, some of these DJs talk to him like they're stupid idiots. Oh, God, how the hell could I forget that? Yeah, Ogallala. How the hell could I forget Ogallala, Nebraska? Because when he first got here, they were making fun of him. Ogallala, where the hell is that? Yeah, I forgot all about Ogallala. Because I'll tell you what, before Lanigan, we had some real assholes here. Real assholes. One guy that they brought in that basically, he thought he was like God's gift to radio, Don Imus. Imus in the morning. Oh, he was an idiot. Gee, I thought he was here longer. I could have swear he got here. I might be thinking of somebody else. 85, huh? I might have him confused with somebody else. Because he lived on Lake Road in Bay Village. And he was not secretive about where he lived. I drove past the house once. He was out cutting the lawn, you know. I didn't stop in. But he would always say, oh my God, you know, coming down Lake Road this morning from Bay Village, the snow was, you know, ungodly. A lot of personalities don't want you to know where they live. Lanigan, he could care less. He had a pretty nice house, too. I had pictures of it at one time. I had pictures of a lot of shit at one time. Of course, you know, I learned a lesson. That's why everything goes on an external hard drive. And the lesson, the real bad lesson was learned when that LG tablet quit. And I lost all that music. 305 songs. I lost it all because the guy up at the computer repair shop said, I tried everything under the sun. He said, I can't get it to activate. Yeah, I mean, he said basically everything except his address. You know, I live just over the line in the Bay Village. I'm on the north side of the street. You know, the only thing he didn't give was his address, and he didn't care. Matter of fact, he owned a travel service. His wife ran it. And it was right up at the end of Lakewood on, was it Detroit? I think Detroit. Just when you make the bend to go into Rocky River. Lanigan Travel. It was there for years. And he would mention it on the radio. You know, he goes, my wife has a travel service. It's at such and such address in Lakewood. He always would kind of picture some business. When, you know, when back in the day when the people had to go somewhere, they went to a travel agent. Now you just go online, book a ticket, you're done. Back in the day, if you wanted to go like to Germany or hell, even if you wanted to go to the Grand Canyon, you went to a travel agent. And they would attempt to get you the best price on a ticket, best price on a hotel, you know. Yeah, because I started at the Title Bureau, and February of 70. And the radio studios were 3 floors up. Because there was MJI, there were like 4 different radio studios, different stations. And Lanigan would park his Porsche like almost outside the side door exit of the building. Because he would just come out the door, get in his Porsche, down the driveway, and on his way. I'll say one thing about John Lanigan. He always had time for people. Because I would try to schedule my break for like 10:15. Because I knew John would be leaving the station. Now, sometimes he had things to do. And I would be like standing by his car. And, you know, the first couple of times he was like, hey, where? And then after we got to talking, we would chit-chat, you know, I would, back in our corner of the office, we had a radio. We were allowed to listen to the radio, and we always had Lanigan on. And I would, sometime I would say to him, I said, gee, you know that guy you were interviewing today had a bit of an attitude. Lanigan would be like, yeah, you noticed that, I noticed it too, you know. He always had time. He was a hell of a guy. Matter of fact, he was the one, the only thing I didn't like about him, he was the one that encouraged me to enroll in the Wixie School of Broadcast Technique. He was like, hey, you might have a shot at it, you know. I enrolled. And then the goddamn school went bust. Because they actually weren't accredited. I mean, it was cool to sit down in a radio station console and do your shtick, you know. And then we find out the school wasn't accredited, the FCC didn't recognize them. They shut them down, and we didn't get our money back. Didn't I like this? It's not actually a cigarette. It's a cigarillo. Something new at the Indian store. Al Capone cigarillos. Two little cigars. He said, we just got these in. You try them. It's okay. I'm trying them. I won't be buying them because this 2-pack sells for $1.89. 2 little cigarillos. Even if I like them, I won't be buying them. Kind of reminds me of working back for the county when I was always smoking a cigar. If cigars weren't that fucking expensive, I would, I enjoy a cigar every now and then. They are so freaking expensive. Of course, you can't go in today and, buy a pack of Dutch Masters or, a 5-pack of White Owls. God, back in the day, there were all kinds of cigars in a smoke shop. White Owls, Dutch Masters, God, I can't even remember them all. And they were usually a 5-pack. You could get the little blunts. You could get, like I used to smoke, I call them the El Robo Deluxes. They were like a foot long. Same thing. I used to smoke a pipe. Try finding pipes nowadays. The smoke shop up for me doesn't even carry them. Let me take that back. The cigar shop. We have, get this. The name of the place is called Cigar. That's the name of the shop. Cigar. This guy has cigars in there that sell for $100 each. One. Because I went in one day, I said to him, I said, "You got any White Owls or Dutch Masters?" And he looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. He goes, "Oh, you're from back in the day, aren't you?" I thought, "Yeah." I said, "They used to be right next to the cigarettes." And the two biggest sellers were White Owl and Dutch Master. Now, I can't remember the others, because I would buy a 5-pack of the El Robo Deluxe Dutch Masters, And then, when my uncle bought the vending company, they carried everything. And you could order cigars with your name on them. A box of 50 cigars with whatever you want to put on it. So I ordered cigars with my name on them. And I'd hand them out, people would look at it and go, "What brand is this?" I used to tell them, "My private label." "Oh, thank you." I think for a box of hundreds, well, I was getting them wholesale. I think it was like $5.50 for a box of 100 cigars with my name on them. And I used to order them on a regular basis. Of course, I was a bit of an idiot, Somebody would do something stupid in the office, Mainly one of the guys. And I'd always have a couple of cigars in my pocket. Somebody do something dumb, and I'd give that man a cigar. And I'd give him a cigar and say, "Here, for your stupid shit that you just did." I have to tone these lights down a little bit. Although I kind of like this one. I kind of like this one. You know, when I would go to, when I would make the rounds, Kathy, I'd go to the bakery and I'd go, you know, to Kaiser Meats. I had driven past that smoke shop. I never went in, but I know which one you're talking about. Because I always said, oh, next trip I'm going to stop in. And I never did. A lot of time what I would do when I would leave Bedford, I would drive way out of the way to get to Murray Hill. And on Murray Hill in Little Italy was a smoke shop owned by some, I can't remember the name of the Italian guy. And he carried everything on earth in that smoke shop. Well, it sounds like some of the stores around here. The delicatessen that's across the street from the Indian store, it's called Frank's. It's been Frank's since old man Frank built it back in 46. They had a big magazine rack. And the Playboys and the Penthouse and the Hustlers, they were in a cabinet. So if an adult wanted a girly magazine, he would have to go to the counter, and then either Ted or Mary Ann would go back and unlock the cabinet. But there was you could read every magazine available except girly ones. Because I used to read Hot Rod and Motor Trend and, you know, and Mary Ann would come back and smack me on the back of the head and say, hey, buy the goddamn thing. This ain't a library. I'm like, Mary Ann, I don't have a spare quarter, you know. Magazines were like 25, 30 cents back in the day. But that was also big money. Yep, these are just like cigars. If you don't puff on them, they go out. Not to mention, I shouldn't be inhaling. Yeah, well, things were a little tighter back in the day, Kathy. You know, well, Playboy magazine doesn't even exist anymore, but there were a lot of stores that, I know at the drugstore, I mean, there was like a 25-foot rack of magazines, and there was everything back there, and nobody ever said anything at the drugstore. Well, every now and then the druggist would walk around and go, hey, you kids, put that magazine back in the rack. You're going to burn your eye. You're going to burn the corneas out of your eyes looking at them pictures. Maybe that's why I can't see out of this right eye anymore. Yeah, after Hugh Hefner died, his daughter, she shit-canned the magazine, she shit-canned the mansion. That used to be a big thing back in the day, the Playboy Mansion. if you were anybody, you got invited to the Playboy Mansion. Yeah, you kind of like that. Yeah, the druggist, if he would catch you reading a girly magazine, he always would tell you, hey, you're going to burn your corneas looking at them pictures. We'd put them back right away, And then I would be sitting there going, well, my father reads them. He can see. I never said that to the pharmacist, though, but evidently adult corneas were a lot stronger than kids' corneas, Oh, God, he was a crotchety old man, too. What the hell was his name? God, he was like 5'2". Had of white hair. Oh, I can't remember his name. I used to go to that drugstore all the time. Oh, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. He would sneak around the store. That was the... Because you'd be looking one way, and he'd tap you on the shoulder, and oh! Put that magazine back, you're going to burn your corneas. You won't be able to see. I always used to say, okay, I'll sacrifice one eye. I did. God, I'll tell you what. I am losing vision really fast in this eye. It's starting to get scary. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Kathy. And back in the day, you never mess with them little guys. They could kick your ass in a heartbeat. Because I remember, oh God, I can't remember that pharmacist's name. Because if the kids got porky with him, he would always say, you don't want to mess with me. I'll hit you so many times you'll be begging for a kick. Magazine went right back in the rack, made sure the cover was straight. I didn't want to get my ass kicked by him, and I didn't want to burn my corneas. Yeah, I had driven past that smoke shop. Well, every time I went into Bedford and made the rounds, I would stop at Kaiser's. If I had a taste for sweets, I'd hit the bakery. I'd stop in at the funeral home and chat with them. So it was always next time. Oh, I'll stop in there next time. I never did. But like I say, I used to go to that one on Murray Hill in Little Italy. Because he used to carry, and I don't even think you can get them anymore, cigarettes called Nate Sherman's. N-A-T-E, Nate Sherman's. And they had, well, you could get a pack. They were called Fantasias. And every cigarette in the pack was a different color. He also carried, and I used to buy them, they were red with a gold filter. I can't remember the name of them. But the cigarette paper was red, and the filters were gold foil. I'd pull them out and start smoking, and people were like, what the hell are you smoking? These. although the Fantasias were more aimed at women because the colors were pastel. But they were called Nate Shermans. They were big at one time. I don't know if Nate Sherman still exists. This is getting aggravating. All right, Kathy, question. Was he related to the Romitos that owned the funeral home? Because there was a Romito funeral home back in the day. What was it? Anyone in the family, like maybe an uncle or a cousin or something? Because I remember a Romito funeral home. Because if you died on the west side, you went to Carino's. If you died on the east side, you were Italian. You went to Romito's. Because back in the day, it was like every nationality had a funeral home. Because I remember in my grandparents' neighborhood, there were 2 Hungarian funeral homes. Stas, S-T-A apostrophe S, Stas, and Bodnars, B-O-D-N-A-R, Bodnar. They were the 2 Hungarian funeral homes. And my grandfather was good buddies with old man Bodnar. And he assumed when my grandparents would pass away that he would have the funeral service. Well, when my grandfather passed away, she remembered at one time she overheard old man Bodnar say something kind of negative about my grandfather. And when he passed away, and word went through the neighborhood like wildfire, he actually called my grandmother and said, "When are you coming in for arrangements?" And my grandmother said, "He's going to Carino's." And Bodnar said, "That's an Italian funeral home." She said, "It don't make no difference." She said, "He's not going to you." But the interesting thing was, old man Bodnar sent a huge flower arrangement to the funeral home. Probably trying to suck up to my grandmother, figured, well, if I can't get one, I'll get the other one. Because there was a, oh God, what the hell was the name of it? There was a funeral home somewhere between like 41st and 65th and Lorraine. And it was a furniture store. Because back in the day, furniture stores were also funeral homes. Really? Holy shit. Man. 1919? God, now it makes me wish I would have gone in there. That shop had to look really cool inside. All right, so the Romitos weren't, yeah, well, you know, Italian families, there are 5,000 of them. I kind of thought so. When you said, Romito Smoke Shop, I was like, they got to be related somehow. Now it makes me wish I would have stopped in there. Because the inside of that shop had to look really cool. Because I am sure they didn't change it. I mean, yeah, they would do some updates, but I'm sure that smoke shop looked like the day they opened it in 1919. That building should be a historical landmark. Yeah, when I worked for the limousine service, there were a couple of times that I think I was driving the limousine because Bermuda's, you know, just about everybody rented from American. Yeah, see, it makes me wish I would have stopped in there. That inside of that shop had to look so cool. Of course, you know, I might not have appreciated it as much as if I walked into it today. But it had to look really cool. Because back in the day, they used to put tin plate in the ceiling. And they always had big crown moldings and wooden floors. That, oh man, too late now. But it had to look cool. Because there was I just watched something on YouTube the other day. I think it was a smoke shop in Chicago. It was opened like in 1898. And it's been passed down through the family. And of course, they had to make certain upgrades. But 90% of the shop looks like it did when they opened it in 1898. Because they bought the building next door and they knocked a hole in the wall. And they put a big, like, they put a bar and a lounge and a cigar smoking area, but the shop itself looks like it did when it was first opened. Except now it's got modern lighting and they had to, you know, the city makes you do certain upgrades. But also the building in Chicago was certified as a National Historic City Landmark. Damn it. I wish I would have stopped in there. Although, like I say, I would appreciate it more now than back in the day, but how cool. Yeah, this place that it's down on Cam's Corners, Cigar. Stupid name. He carries cigars from all over the world. Because the one day I was looking at an El Ropo Deluxe, and the cigar was like 25 bucks. I said, for one? He said, well, if you look at the end of the counter, I got some for $100 and $110. Who the hell would spend $100 for one cigar? Well, somebody that's got the money that likes $100 cigars. I can't see how they justify that. Of course, when I asked him if he had a 5-pack of Dutch Masters, he looked at me like I was crazy. Dutch Master? How about White Owls? White Owls? Did you just crawl out of a crypt? No. But I remember, oh, what the hell drugstore was it? I think it was Gray Drug. They had a huge section with cigars and pipes and pipe tobacco and cigarettes. And then, you know, cigars fell out of favor. You know, that's like back in the day, you look at pictures, and every man wore a fedora. Every man wore a hat. You don't see that anymore. Hats went out of style. Where the hell is mine? Oh God, where the hell did I put it? I have my grandfather's fedora. I think it's in the bedroom. Yeah, it's in a hat box. If I think of it one day, I'll wear it. Although I have to be real gentle with it because that goddamn thing is almost 100 years old. My grandfather, every 2 months, he would send it to a hat cleaning shop. And he would have that hat professionally cleaned. And then he'd get it back and he'd wear it for 2 months, and then out it went to the hat cleaner. There was actually a specialty hat cleaning shop. Because back in the day, everybody wore a hat. There was a documentary on a couple weeks ago about the old Chrysler turbine cars. And they showed when the first 2 prototypes arrived from Italy, because that's where they built the bodies. And it showed them opening this crate out in a parking lot. And there's like 40 guys standing around, and every one of them has a top coat on and a hat. They look like a big bunch of gangsters. And then hats kind of went out of style. Although downtown Cleveland, I think on Prospect, I don't know if it's still there, there was a shop called Mike the Hatter. And he sold every style hat you could imagine. I think he was on Prospect. Mike the Hatter. That was the name of the shop. And I know he was there in the late 90s. Because it would have had to been 96 to 98 when Steve Harvey would come into town. We would always make a stop at Mike the Hatter. And Steve Harvey buy a bunch of hats. He would have 90%. He would wear one. Maybe he would buy like 6, 8, 10 hats. And then he would have the other one shipped to his house. But he would always come out of the shop with a new hat on. Because we would stop at Mike the Hatter, and then he would go visit his parents. And most of the time he was doing a show here too, so he had a reason to come to town. But we would stop at Mike the Hatter, and then we go, I'd drop him off at his parents' house. He would call me when he was ready to go to the hotel. And then if he had a show in the evening, I'd pick him up for the show and then take him back at the end of the show. While you're Googling, Kathy, Google Mike the Hatter in Cleveland, Ohio, and see if he's still in business. I know he was in 98. Because like I say, he had hats from everywhere in the world. You could go in there and buy one of them big Russian fur hats. Looks like you had a woodchuck on your head. The name of the shop was Mike the Hatter. Hatter. Mike the Hatter. That was the name of the shop. And I think he was on Prospect. I could be wrong. But I know he was there between 96 and 98 because every time Steve had come to town, he'd go buy some more hats. Because luckily I knew where it was at. Because I had picked him up from the, I picked him up from the airport, I took him to his hotel, and about an hour later, I had to pick him up, and he said to me, he said, "You know where Mike the Hatter is?" And at that time I happened to know. And I said, "Yes." He said, "Take me there." Yes, sir. And then I parked that big stretch limousine out front of Mike the Hatter. And Steve would be in there for 45 minutes to an hour. Then he'd come out wearing a new hat. Because I'd always ask him, I said, "That all you bought?" "No, I bought 10. They're shipping the other ones to my house." Thank God I didn't want to loading hats in the trunk of a limousine. But if you were in Cleveland and you wanted a hat, you went to Mike. As a matter of fact, for a while, okay, West Huron. Well, it's in the area. I knew where it was. I just couldn't remember. I thought it was on Prospect. But when I was working at the Title Bureau, me and a couple of guys got on a Western wear kick. And we all bought Western-style jeans and the Western-style shirts with the pearl buttons, you know, and the bolo ties. And I went to Mike the Hatter and I bought a 10-gallon hat. I looked like Wyatt Earp. We did that craze for about 6 months, and I can't remember what we went to after that. Although the boss wasn't too happy with us. You know, you guys are supposed to be wearing suits. So we all ordered Western suits. Because I'll never forget the first day I wore my Western suit to work. And the boss looked at me and went, "Oh, Jesus Christ." He said, "If anybody was going to get a Western suit, it'd be you." I says, "Well, wait until Tom and Fred and Sam come in. We all ordered them." Matter of fact, I still have my cowboy boots. Still to this day, I can't wear them because of my toes. I still have them. I'll dig them out one day. I bought them from Mason Shoes. And at that time, they were mail order. And Mason had a lifetime guarantee on soles and heels. And all you had to do was pay the shipping back to Mason Shoes. They would put new soles and heels on and ship them back to you for free. Because I had them soled and heeled a couple of times. And I'll tell you, once they're broke in, there is nothing more comfortable than a cowboy boot. People look at them and they're like, oh, I could sleep in them things. Breaking them in is a little tough on the feet. But once you get a cowboy boot broke in, most comfortable thing on earth. I wore them for years. Matter of fact, they're gray. They have a snakeskin toe, and then the side of the boot is gray leather. Oh God, what did I pay for them things back in the day? $50, which was big money back in the 70s. But at that time, Mason shoe came with a lifetime guarantee for soles and heels. Well, you know, Prospect rings a bell. I must have gone to the one on Prospect because that sticks in my head. But it's nice to know he's got 3 stores. God, hats must... He's got to be selling a shitload of hats. But to still be in business to this day, he's got to be selling a shitload of hats. You can't survive on somebody coming in once a week and buying one hat. That's amazing. Maybe they're making a comeback. Maybe they're making a comeback. Well, Towers, when they changed the name from Terminal Tower to Tower City, the rent went right up. It's a shame because the last time I was down in Tower City, there were a lot of empty stores. And I was told it was due to the expensive rent. But you know, they put that fountain in, and they did a lot of upgrades and modernized. But it's like malls. When malls opened, they were doing a booming business. Then came the internet, and malls went out of style. Although, okay, I just went blank. What was the big mall over on the east side? It was the place to be. It was huge. I'm drawing a blank. Because I remember going out there shortly after it opened. And the gangs ruined that one. What the hell was the name of that? Randall. Oh, you're a savior, Kathy. Yeah, Randall was, oh man, it was the place to be. And then after a while, the goddamn gangs were having turf wars in the place. And people were afraid to shop there, and stores closed up. And now I think it's vacant property. But I remember going out there shortly after it opened. And it was, oh, it was amazing. But the gangs, the kids ruined that place. Because it was on the news many times. There'd be a shooting or mugging or stabbing. And then people were afraid to go there. Stores couldn't function. They closed up. Yeah, Randall was, oh, that was the crown jewel of malls for quite a while. Matter of fact, I think I think they tore Southgate down, didn't they? Didn't that whole plaza get torn down? Good old Ted Knight in Southgate, USA, home of the Santa button. I remember taking my kid out when he was little to the parade. Ted Knight would be waving. Who's that, Dad? Never mind, you don't know him. Just wait for Santa, he'll be here. Because Ted Knight was always the Grand Marshal. Oh, yeah, I forgot all about the carousel. I forgot all about that. Like I say, it was the crown jewel of malls. There was a popcorn and candy shop. It was, I remember it was at the far end of the mall. I can't remember the name of it. They made the best caramel corn on earth. I used to go out of there like with a 5-pound bag. They would make it while you waited. And you could get all different flavors. And you could get, like me, I'd have them throw in pistachios and cashews. Oh, God. But it was a one-off. The only place it existed was Randall. And then when Randall closed up, I guess they just, we're done. There was also a shop called Orange Julius. And they made the world's best orange juice drink I ever had in my life. The name of it was Orange Julius. I would get me caramel corn and I would get me a big Orange Julius. I don't know what they mixed that orange juice with. It was unbelievable. All right, which one got torn down? One of them got torn down. Because it was built on a landfill, and the methane gas was seeping up through the ground. Oh, you had Orange Julius? Oh, God. They would never tell you. I never had a drink like that in my life. But it was also exclusive to Randall. You could go to other malls, there was no Orange Julius. And you would think, because the place was always busy, the guy would open up somewhere else. Or, partner with somebody like Subway or Mr. Hero, There's a lot of those places that are dual. You could get a Mr. Hero and get an Orange Julius and be happy. Yeah, but they put something in it. there was an additive. Because I remember when the girl would have it in the blender, she would take like a scoop of something, and she would never tell you what that scoop was. Oh, company secret. Because she would put it in a blender, and she would pour a scoop of some kind of powder in it. And it transformed it into this amazing orange drink. I would get one on the way in, and then I would get one on the way out. That's how good that was. Really, powdered milk? I thought it was some real secret ingredient, because the girl would never say. You know, she'd have it in the blender and put a scoop in, and I'd be like, what are you adding there? Oh, company secret. Whoever came up with the idea of mixing powdered milk and sugar into orange juice concentrate, that would be the farthest thing from my mind, mixing milk and orange juice together. But it worked, and it was fantastic. Like I say, I'd get a large on the way in. And by the time I wandered through the mall, it would be empty. So I would get one on the way out to take home with me, along with my big bag of caramel corn. I would have never thought milk. Powdered milk. That would have been the farthest thing from my mind. But it worked. I would just like to know how they came up with that combination. Well, were they sitting around drinking one night and went, hey, let's put some powdered milk and some orange juice. Okay. It needs something else. Try sugar. Okay. Now, how much did you put in there? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. Oh, that's what they built there, huh? Well, at least it's not a vacant lot. I never knew that the Amazon distribution center was over at the old Randall. Although they needed the property, and that was acres. Gee, one day I might have to take a ride out there, just look. I'm surprised my son never mentioned it. He worked for Amazon. He never mentioned they had a big distribution center over at Randall. Although he never mentioned much to me anyway. Because he worked for 3 different Amazons and got fired from all 3. That's sad when you work for 3 different Amazons and you get fired from all 3. That's because starting time was a suggestion. What do you mean 7:30? I'll be here about 8:10. Every single job. He got shit canned for being late to work. And before Amazon, and Kathy, you know the place, he worked for that outfit Sifron. And he had a gold mine job out there. And he screwed it up. I told that story. He was working for a temp agency. And there are two Jewish brothers that own Cifra. And they were so impressed. Now, when he was working for the temp agency, he was always on time. They were so impressed with his work ethic, because if he's got a job he likes, he'll bust his ass. They called the temp agency and said, release him, we want to hire him. And the temp agency got pissed because they were losing money. What do you mean you're going to take my employee? And the temp agency gave the two brothers a hard time, and they called the CEO of the temp agency and said, we want him. Release him. And they finally did. And he had a gold mine job. Because they bought, it was $500,000, this 4-story lift truck. It would go up 4 stories. That's how high that warehouse had shit stacked. $500,000. There were only 2 people that were trained and certified to operate that machine. And my kid was one, which pissed a lot of the employees off. Well, they had the machine about 3 weeks. And asshole got his Apple earbuds in, listening to music, which he wasn't supposed to do. And he cut a short corner. And he almost knocked down a 40-foot by 4-story H-rack of merchandise. And he damaged the shit out of this $500,000 lift truck. Because I remember the night he come home and he went, "Oh, I'm in trouble." I said, "What?" He goes, "I damaged the new lift truck." And I'm thinking, little tow motor, you know. I said, "Well, how bad?" "Yeah, pretty bad." I said, "Well, they'll just get another one." He said, "Dad, it's a $500,000 machine." I went, "Oh, fuck, you're fired." They called him in the office and they said, "Don't do that anymore. No music. Put your cell phone away. We're going to forgive you for the truck. We're going to get it fixed. And you're lucky you didn't knock that 40-foot by 4-story H-rack of merchandise over. We're also getting a welder in to fix the rack that you almost knocked over." That was it. No suspension. Nothing. They just told him, "Don't do that no more. We like you." Well, then the shit started. Now, get this. And Kathy, you know 71, 480, 271. On a good day, okay, it would take him, say, 45 minutes to get to work. So, now, he had to start at, I think his starting time was 8 o'clock. He would get up like at 5:30 in the morning and watch the news and drink his coffee. And then he would leave 45 minutes before starting time. Because on a good day, it took him 45 minutes. Well, in the winter, 271 is like a demolition derby. And traffic would be backed up, and he'd get to work late. And I would bitch at him. Get to work a half an hour early. Sit and have your coffee, chill out from driving in traffic. No, he did not believe in that. Anywhere I ever worked, I always got to work at least a half an hour before starting time. First of all, to make sure I was going to be on time, and second of all, use that as unwinding time. A lot of times, like if I was, a body shop manager, I'd be in there at least 45 minutes early to plan the day. We're going to bring this wreck in, and I'm going to give it to this guy, and I'm going to bring that wreck in and give it to this guy, and okay, what's got to go into the paint shop? What's got to go up on the frame machine? What's got to go over to clean up? I would harp on him. Nope. And he did this with every fucking job. When he was working for Amazon, it's only 20 minutes from here. The Amazon over on Tiedemann, it's 20 minutes. Well, snow would be ass deep. And he would leave 20 minutes before it's time to be to work. And of course he'd get there late. And he did this from the first part-time job he had at Lakewood Hospital. And I blame his supervisor. Because he was supposed to start at 4 o'clock. Now, he was out of school. We only lived 10 minutes away from the hospital. He would get there 4:15, 4:20. And of course, everybody else is on time. And he had this personality where most supervisors couldn't yell at him. And the supervisor, oh God, where the hell was she from? Because she was Asian. I can't remember where, but she would never yell at him. She would see him coming in late and would never yell at him. So since he never got yelled at, he assumed starting time's a suggestion. When I get there, I get there. And every job he ever had, he got fired for being late to work. And the worst one, get this, he worked for an auto parts warehouse. And his supervisor really liked him because he put away stock, he delivered parts. His original starting time was 7:30. Now, we lived at 140th and I-90. He had to drive 90 and get off at 44th Street. Okay, 15-minute drive. In the summer, in good traffic. Well, he started the shit. And he got a ticket for driving down the berm at one time. So, his boss said, you don't have to come in at 7:30 anymore. I'm changing your starting time to 8 o'clock. Well, the first week, he was on time. And then the shit started. So that went on for about a month and a half. And his boss said, I'm changing your starting time. I'm switching you with, you're going to start at 8:30 now. And Fabrizi is going to start at 8 o'clock. Well, that went for about 2 months. And the shit hit the fan again because... So we went from 7:30 to 8 to 8:30. His boss said, I'm going to switch you and Mac, and you're going to start at 9. Well, that went for about a month and a half, and we started coming in late. Well, all these employees who had their times changed started bitching. If we come in 5 minutes late, you're up our ass. He comes in at 15 minutes late, you don't say a thing. You change your starting time. So finally, he got fired. His boss called me and apologized for firing him. He said, I really didn't want to do it because he works his ass off, but he can't get the work on time. And I said, you ain't telling me anything new. I said, he'd been doing it since his first part-time job. And then, his boss says, you know, I had extended the courtesy to you for employee parts discount. He said, I feel so bad for having to fire your son. I have told every employee that when you come in, you will still get the employee parts discount. He felt bad for firing him. I said, I'd have fired him the first month. And he did it with every single job. How's that for a resume? Oh, you got fired from Lakewood Hospital because you couldn't get to work on time. You got fired from the auto parts warehouse because you couldn't get to work on time. You got fired from Cifron because you couldn't get to work on time. You got fired from Amazon #1 because you couldn't get to work on time. You got fired from Amazon #2 because you couldn't get to work on time. And you got fired from Amazon #3 because you couldn't get to work on time. Hell of a resume, isn't it? And believe it or not, Kathy, his boss, I can't remember Dan's last name, when he retired, which he retired 2 years ago, on the day of his retirement, he told his replacement and every counter employee, if I ever come in for parts, I get the employee discount. And that's been 10 years. I don't go there for parts because it's kind of out of the way and I buy a lot off of Amazon. But I can guarantee if I went in there tomorrow and gave them my son's old employee number, I would get the 25% discount that the employees get. But every single job, he got fired for being late to work. You would think after the first job, you would wise up and go, Jesus Christ. And then, when he was working at Cifron, he had bought, it was a beautiful 1990 Buick Park Avenue. It was an old lady's car. Beautiful car. Well, he had it for about 4 months, and one night on his way home from work, he was sitting at a traffic light, and Parma was chasing a stolen truck. Now, it was a stolen truck. That's it. Wasn't a carjacking, wasn't a robbery, a murder, a stolen truck. They're chasing at rush hour. The guy in the truck loses control and wipes out 7 vehicles. Hit 7 cars. Sent 6 people to the hospital. Out of the 7 cars, 6 were total losses. And I called the chief and I said, "Are your officers fucking insane? This was a stolen truck. That's all it was. And your men are chasing at 80 miles an hour in rush hour." The chief was like, Sergeant made the call. Oh, I was pissed. For 2 reasons. 3 reasons. First of all, they shouldn't have been chasing a stolen truck in Russia. Second of all, the car got totaled. Third of all, I got stuck co-signing for a car that ended up getting repossessed. My credit is so far in the sewer, I have to use binoculars to see it. Because he got fired from his third Amazon job. Because he can't get to work on time. But we can get up 2 hours early. This is the thing that pissed me off. He would be up 2 hours before he had to leave for work. And get to work late. It's not like the alarm went off at 7:30 and I got to be at work at 8. He'd be up sometime 2.5 hours early. I'd hear him making coffee, messing around in the kitchen. I'd look at the clock and go, Jesus Christ, it's 5:30. And then we would sit around. Oh, okay, I got to leave for work in 15 minutes. I'll go hit the shower. And it got to be the point. I couldn't take it anymore. So I would not get up until after he left. I'd lay in bed, watch TV. I would not come out of my bedroom until he left for work. Because every morning it was like, Jesus Christ, you got to be at work in 20 minutes. I'll get there, don't worry about it. And when he would get fired, he would tell his mother a bullshit story. Oh, the boss didn't like me, or this, or that. He would never be honest and say, well, I can't get to work on time. So after he got fired from the third Amazon, I called her. And I said, I'm going to give you a little history. I said, the reason he got fired from every job he's ever worked, because he can't get to work on time. If you don't believe it, call. Call Sipron. I can't remember the two Jew brothers anymore. I said, call the auto parts place. Ask for Dan. Can't call Lakewood Hospital, it don't exist. I said, call Amazon. I said, every single job he has had, he times it, and then he gets to work late. I said, he thinks starting time's a suggestion. And I said, he'll never hold a job. Because he's real good for the first 2 or 3 weeks. And then, fuck it. I'll get to work when I feel it. You know, kid, the farthest I have to drive is Metro Parma. Even in traffic, That is a 15 to 18 minute drive. I get on 130th, up to Snow Road, I make a left, quarter mile down, right turn, I'm there. Every single doctor appointment, I am at least 20 minutes early. At least. Because I hate to be late. And what really pisses me off is when the doctor runs overtime. You know, I have an appointment at 2:30, and a quarter after 3, he's coming out going, Grumpy, come on back. I have never, no matter where I ever worked, got to work at least 20 minutes early. Most of the time, half an hour. Because I like to sit and unwind. Even my 10-minute drive from my apartment in Lakewood to the hospital, I would get there half an hour early. I'd grab a cup of coffee, I'd sit out in the cafeteria, read the paper, read a magazine, bullshit with somebody. And then come starting time, punch in, I'm ready to go. And it's got to be a millennial thing. Because I have a couple of friends who have kids roughly the same age as mine that have the same attitude. I'll get there when I get there. They need me. No, they don't. There's 50 people waiting for your job. They don't need you. Maybe you're good at IT. There's 50 people out there that maybe even are better than you. So it's a millennial thing. It's not just him. They have the attitude, I'll get to work when I get to work, and they'll appreciate that I'm there. But every job, from his first one, and I blame, her name was Tessie, because she never yelled at him. Never said a word to him. Other employees, she'd be on their ass like stink on shit. My kid, you have to know he's got that personality that people just look at him and go, I can't yell at him. No. But when he works, he works. Well, except for Amazon when he was junk collecting instead of delivering packages. But anywhere else, because I had met the two Jew brothers at Sifron. There was some kind of employee day, and you were allowed to come in and see what your husband, wife, kid did for a living. And they did nothing but praise him. They liked him. HR didn't like him. The two brothers liked him. Because I had heard that the first time HR tried to fire him, one of the brothers said, no, you're not firing him. Have a little talk with him. You're not fired. So he got like a 30-day probation. After 3 weeks, the shit started again, and HR fired him. And that job was a gold mine. They had company-paid benefits. And they had an excellent health care plan. Company paid. That's unheard of today. I have friends, kids that are paying 50% towards their health care. Cifron, they paid. You got PTO time. You got 2-week paid vacation. I can't remember. Well, if they had damaged merchandise, you got to take some of it, you know. As long as you didn't sell it on eBay. When he brought the package from HR, I was astounded. I said, you got to be fucking kidding me. You don't pay for none of this? They had eye care, dental, oh, Jesus. Prescription. No matter how much it costs, $5. That's all you pay. It could be a $200 prescription, $5. That's unheard of. And he got fired. Because the second time HR said, we're done. We don't care what you say, he's gone. And that really pisses me off because every time they give the employees a gift, they sent one home for me. Here, take one of these to your dad. What was the last item? It was like a 12 or 18 piece hair beard trimmer kit. It was like a $50 kit. Every employee got one. Well, the women got something different. But all the guys got this neat. Here, take one for your dad. Thanksgiving, they gave turkeys away. Here, take one home for your dad. Well, there's just 2 of us. We don't need 2 turkeys. Take one for your dad. The funny thing was, at Christmas, all the employees got a ham. Coming from 2 Jew brothers. We had 2. Here, take a ham for your dad. I missed those benefits. Those were cool perks. Man, I'll tell you what, the chef's knives that he brought home. Here's the ridiculous thing about logistics and shipping. If a trailer backed up to the dock and one pallet happened to fall over, now, a lot of times, nothing was damaged. But a pallet fell over and boxes were all over the... No, the trailer is full from front to back. The insurance company writes off the whole trailer. Which, to me, was ridiculous. Once the insurance company wrote off that trailer full, everything went in the dumpster. Now, like with these chef's knives, I have 4 different knives. Each employee was allowed to take 2 of each. So my son got 4, I got 4. These knives, I could shave with. Matter of fact, I'm afraid to use them. They are so sharp, you could split a hair. A 50-foot trailer full into the dumpster. It made no sense. Why not just that pallet? Even though nothing's damaged. With that trailer full of knives, the pallet just fell over. The boxes weren't broken. Because my kid took pictures. He goes, you ain't going to believe this. Insurance company come out, wrote Ciffer on a check, dispose of the merchandise. And it went in the dumpster. They could not sell it to, like, there's some of these reclaimed freight outfits. Like, that's down the street from me, there's the guy buys a bunch of shit from Amazon. He's got, it's called a bin store. He brings in these big shipping bins. One might have TVs in it, one might have hair dryers. I've never been in the store, my kid's been in there. I said, you talk about a waste. They'd have them big 40-yard dumpsters. They'd be taking the shit out of the trailer. Now, you can guarantee when that dumpster got to the landfill, there were people going, oh, wait a minute. I'm selling this shit. It was stupid. But I'll tell you what, I love them knives. I'm afraid to use them, but I love them. I got one that looks like a samurai sword. It's like what they use at buffets to cut the ham, the turkey. The knife is like 24 inches long. I'm afraid of that one. That's because I've cut myself. I don't know how many times with them goddamn things. Oh, Jesus Christ. And Fatso isn't here. Look at the time. I'll make this short. My buddy stopped over yesterday, and he brought me a paring knife. It's about 6 inches long, maybe 8 at the most. It's ceramic. I never heard of a ceramic knife. I'll bring it in tomorrow. It stays sharp forever. You don't sharpen it. It never dulls. It's ceramic. The only thing, I have to be careful so I don't ever drop it, because it'll shatter. I used it to slice an onion. It went through that onion like a hot knife going through butter. It's amazing. It's ceramic. I never heard of it. He got a bunch of them, I don't know where he got it from. He brought me one over. He goes, here, it's a ceramic knife. Don't drop it. Okay, I'll try not to. I gotta find out where the hell he got it from. Because if I can get bigger ones, I want some bigger ones. Oh, the motorcycle gang is back. They sit 2 houses over. They pull in the driveway and they let them things run and run. And then after they shut them off, when they get ready to leave, they start them up and then leave them run for like half an hour. I don't know if you can hear. There's like 4 of them over there. Big Harleys. Brr. Do you hear them? And what'll piss me off is they'll do that like 11, 12 o'clock at night. They'll start them and they just let them idle. And there's 4. Because the one day I walked over and I said, guys, these are all new bikes. They're fuel injection. They're not old Harleys. You don't have to warm them up. They're like cars. You start them, get on, and go. You don't have to idle it and warm it up. They're fuel injection. It's that new modern technology. This will go on for 20 minutes. And then they sit there. I keep telling them they're fuel injection. This goes on like 3-4 nights a week. That's the one that doesn't have mufflers. It's got straight pipes. Oh, we shut them off. Now they'll be over there, 11:30, because the guy that lives there goes to work. He starts at midnight. They'll start them up, and they will sit and idle for at least 20 minutes at 11:30 at night. Then, when they get ready to leave, they're all... They're fuel injection guys. Oh, he started another one up. May shut it back off. Oh, they do this shit all the time. And they're older guys. It's not like they're teenagers or in their 20s. These guys are in their 40s. And they're like assholes. And with that, I don't know what Fatso is. God, he should be starving by now.
We'll meet again. Don't know where.
We know where, right here.
Don't know when.
All right, everybody.
We'll meet again.
Thanks for being here.
Sunny day.
It's been fun.
Keep smiling.
And we will meet again right here tomorrow night. And with that, everybody be safe. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. See ya.